Do we have now the sound for online members? We are live. We have our members who have joined us online, but I understand that we have challenges with sound. That's what I want to make sure that we are connected. Everyone is hearing whatever we are saying. IT team, are we okay? Thank you so much. Welcome members who are watching us online, and welcome members who have joined us this day. I want, first of all, to remind us about our vision as Ameka. We are not only a Sacco, but we are also a Christian Sacco. And our vision is to be a leading Christian financial institution of choice. We know there are so many institutions, but there is an advantage of us being Christians, being a member of a Christian Sacco. And then again, our mission is to economically empower customers to realize their competencies and talents. So as a Sacco, we know that most of us we are creative, we have young and old people, we have people in business, we have people who are in careers, and our mission as a Sacco is to ensure that we empower those talents. And that's why today we don't want to be ignorant to only give you money. We also want to give you some education on how this money can help you. So at this moment, I don't want to talk so much because we have our facilitator. I want to introduce us. So my name is Carol Kedenji Mugambi. I'm born again. I'm the vice chair of the Sacco. And at this juncture, I want to welcome the management of the Sacco to come here in front so that we can do a brief introduction and then we introduce our facilitators. Kindly, if you're in management of the Sacco, come in front so that we can do brief introductions. Namchangamke tafadhali. Yes, any side here. So this day is organized by, we have a committee called the training committee. It is called education committee. I'm the chair, and we have a member called Tosh. Bal is not around, but he has he has given us his blessings today. So I'm going to give the mic to everybody so that you can know the management of the Sacco.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mercy Ngolwa. I am the secretary of the Sacco.
Good morning. My name is Kirinya Stephen. I'm the chairman of the Sacco.
Good morning. My name is Patrick Aume. I'm the credit chairman. We have Tosh, who is away, and Penina Kinano. Also, they are away for school commitment. And so they give the apologies. That's how we work together as a team.
Good morning, members. Yes, my name is Nathan Mwenda Mutwiri. I'm the chair supervisory.
Good morning. My name is Ruth Kubai. I'm the secretary supervisory.
Good morning, members. My name is Anne Inanga, and I'm the supervisory member.
Good morning. My name is Ruth Jeruta. I'm the office admin.
Morning, everyone. My name is Sapporo Karumba. I'm the treasurer.
So members, you can be sure that you're in safe hands with this team. You have seen how they have managed to bring the Sacco to where it is. So I will ask them to sit down, and I want to remain here with the chair so that he can give us opening remarks for the day and then introduce our first facilitator. So welcome, Chair.
Good morning, members. As I said, my name is Stephen Kirinya, and we are delighted this morning to have you being part of Ameka and building history with us as we grow Ameka. As you recall, for those of us that have attended most of our trainings and most of our sessions, we are indeed coming from somewhere and we are headed to even greater heights. And we want to appreciate your presence this morning because it has demonstrated your willingness to grow with us. This is a dream that is almost coming true. Let me say it has already come true. The initial members had a dream, and indeed this is it. We thank God because so far it has been enabled by your efforts and your positive attitude towards what we do. We don't want to take it for granted. We thank you so much for availing yourselves and even showing us that great commitment to position Ameka where it is. When you look around even our infrastructure, there is an element of what we say we will do that is being portrayed by everything. And now we invite you even to be more enlightened with the products and activities and what all of us are expected to do as a team to grow Ameka even further. So this morning, I take this opportunity to welcome you into this great day. With us is a facilitator, Mr. Mbao, who is very well versed with Sacco matters, being played Sacco matters for quite a long time. We had him a couple of times to train us, and we want to thank him even for showing us his willingness to make us grow. He's here, and he's always been here courtesy of Mr. Kaome, who is our credit chair. And with all due diligence, I'll call Mr. Kaome to usher him in, because I know we are going to have a great deal of benefit from his teachings. Mr. Kaome, thank you very much for even facilitating and making it happen for us today.
Thank you. Let's appreciate our chairman, kindly. So we worked with Robert Mbao in the banking industry. He left to be the head of credits, Ameka Sacco. Ameka Sacco is one of the largest Saccos, farmers, coffee, maziwa, in Ruaraka County, one of the biggest. So his portfolio is huge in terms of the asset base, in terms of members. So he is a person who is well versed with what we are looking for. He's a person who shall add value not only to the Sacco, but in terms of the financial management aspect of our individuals. So how we manage our finances, then Mbao becomes among best speakers who shall slice this a topic of financial management, basically just to help us. And I repeat, it's not only for the Sacco, even you, Monday to Friday, how you manage your finances, then of course makes a lot of sense. And so Mbao, I've known him for over 10 years. When we were working for Chase Bank, now we left to other institutions. Now he's in Muranga. We often meet with Mbao and other guys, the credits. We normally meet. So as a person I know, he was here last 2019 again, and they really gave a lot of nuggets to make sure we have a better Sacco and a better saving culture than before. So it's my joy then, therefore, to invite my brother, Robert Mbao. Please, let's put our hands together as he comes to speak to us, so then we'll be able to understand exactly what is our roles and responsibilities when it comes to Sacco. Welcome, Brother Robert. Karibu sana.
So it's still morning. So good morning, Ameka members. So it has always been my pleasure to talk to corporators, because I'm a corporator by blood and by baptism. So my full name is Robert Mbao, and I wear so many caps. So currently, I work at a place called Ameka Sacco. We are based in Molanga. 6.4 billion asset base, a loan book of 5 billion. Sijui yenyu ni ngapi? Treasurer, nako wapi? How much do you have in terms of your loan book? 30 million. So on top of that, so I'm also a board member at Maziwa. Maziwa, we have a cooperative, and we call it Kamuvi Sacco. We have Kamuvi Housing that deals with RAD, but we have a Kamuvi Sacco. It is a community-based. I'm a board member and also the chair of the credit committee. So I'm well-versed when it comes to credit matters in cooperatives, both as an employee and as a board member. And Kamuvi Sacco, at Kamuvi Sacco, we have a loan book of over 100 million. So we are 3 times Ameka, isn't it? When did you start, Chairman? 2014. So we started almost the same time, because even at Kamuvi Sacco, we started at allowed the same time, 2014-13. But you see now we have leapfrogged you. We are 3 times bigger, isn't it? So if these were your 2 sons, one appears to be stunted, while the other one, isn't it? He seems to be growing at a faster rate. So what is it that we have done that can be of benefit to Ameka Sacco, so that next year when we come, we will see some progress, isn't it? You know, if a comparison was to be done between the two in terms of catchment, here you seem to be far much endowed in terms of whom you can attract, isn't it? But remember, at Maziwa, it is a purely community-based circle where everyone comes, isn't it, with his unique identifier. That pool, we don't have that benefit. But we have been able to attract these members who have given us over, say, 120 million in terms of deposits, and now we have also lent to them over 100 million. Equally where I work, because we work with these people within the cooperative movement. Our deposit base is also high, over 4.8 billion. A loan book of 5.3. Membership over 200,000. How many members do we have here? 485, isn't it? Yeah. At Kamuvi Sacco, we are about 1,400. So you see, within the same span, it's like we have tripled you in all front, isn't it? So, as members, as leaders, that now gives us a new challenge, and we shall talk about it when maybe we shall go to the slide we are calling the future. What does the future look like in terms of Ameka Sacco? So what are these strategic initiatives and strategic objectives that we must start taking, isn't it? So that by next year, we have a growth even of 200 members. And all what requires, if each member was just to introduce a single member, even half the 485, and each just introduce one more member. 485 divided by 2, that's about 240, isn't it? So in the year 2023, we have the capacity to grow that membership. So if we can start with the presentation, I just prepared a few slides. I will just take us through, but before we look at the slides, we shall read Numbers 4. Sorry, the book of Nehemiah 4. It was about the rebuilding of the wall, isn't it? Those who remember after captivity, it is what Nehemiah embarked on. Who has opened Nehemiah 4 and 4 verse 15? Nehemiah 4 and verse 15. Because we have to rebuild the wall. And if Ameka is to be strong, we need to have a very strong wall with very strong foundation. It reads, Nehemiah 4:15. Yes, I have the NIV version. That when our enemies, remember from 2014, isn't it, to where we are, it's not that we have not been having any major challenge as a circle. So, what we are saying is that those challenges in the year 2023 of the Lord, God has fought for us, isn't it? And the commitment we need to say is that when our enemies heard that, we were aware. So, as a circle, you need to be aware of the challenges you are facing, isn't it? And you seek God's intervention. From there, what happens? You go back to the wall, each to his own work. Because we cannot work on this wall at the same point. There is one who will be working on the wall at chairs mobilization, isn't it? There is somebody else who will be working on this wall at the marketing side, bringing new members, isn't it? There is also somebody who will be working on this wall on the loan side, to make sure we are giving good loans, we are giving quality loans, the loans are repaid on time, isn't it? And so on. But also there is also somebody who will be working on the revenue sides, the incomes. Because at the end of the day, the member will require a return on what he has invested, isn't it? By April, some circles have started paying dividends and rebates, isn't it? So as you go along the way, members will be asked, what is it that we did last year and how much we are getting? So it also requires somebody to work on this wall so that at the end of the day, we are more beneficial to our members, isn't it? So let us recognize the wall and we all ask ourselves, what is the role of this member in the construction of the wall? If the member does not bring shares, if the member does not bring his savings to us, if the member does not borrow, isn't it? Where will the money to pay dividend come from? If we don't increase our membership. So, if all that is gone, what will be the work of the management? Kuna kazi atakuwa nayo? The management will be coming to the wall in the morning and fight nothing to work on, isn't it? So, this wall we have to build it all of us. And that is what these men realized. But now, since the challenges they were facing were all gone, and God was on his side, isn't it? Each went back to the wall, and they did their best. But more so, each worked. If you go to verse 18, they wore their sword at his side as they worked, isn't it? Remember, the sword is the what do we call it? The knowledge. What is it that you require as a board member, as the management, as a member himself, so that now you are fully empowered and equipped as you work on this wall. So, even as we start, we need to re-ask ourselves and re-evaluate ourselves, isn't it? What is it that I need to know so that I become also an effective worker in the reconstruction of this wall? And that is very important. How does cooperatives do that? If you go to slide number 1 now, we must always remind our members. No, slide number 2, the next one. That will never ever happen if members don't understand their principles. I don't know whether it is big enough. Because the first thing a member must do, and you can never train members without talking about the principles of cooperative. One, about voluntarily. The one of voluntary and open membership as a member. Second, democratic member control. This happens because of the voting rights. In a cooperative, one man, one vote, isn't it? It is not like in other jurisdiction where voting is determined by the number of chairs you hold. In a cooperative, that equalizing factor. Whether you are 18 years, whether you are 20, if you have met the minimum threshold, you acquire a single vote. Member economic participation, and this is very key, principle number 3. If you go to a milk society, members bring their milk, isn't it, to that society. If you go to the coffee societies, members bring their coffee. True or false? If you go to Western Kenya, where we have coffee, and even where others are aggregated around milk, isn't it? That is what they bring to the society. So, what is the members' economic activity in a circle like Ameka? In a circle like Kamuvi, in a circle like Temple? It is their savings, and that is very important. We shall be talking about how do we increase the wallet share, isn't it? Yeah, Kaume is a man resourced well enough. He is a successful entrepreneur. He is a successful manager, for example, and many others. But how much of that income hides itself in Ameka Sacco? So, if you milk your cow 100 liters, isn't it? And now you decide you belong to Ameka, where you only bring 10 liters. Hiyo ingine, you opt to sell to brokers, isn't it? So, how much passion or commitment are you showing with Ameka of yours? Where you joined voluntarily and you are a member. So it's a choice we all have to make, isn't it? Sometimes we say we cannot put all our baskets in one. We cannot put all our baskets in one, all our eggs in one basket, isn't it? But how well are we distributing these eggs? Which side becomes more weightier. And that's why we are saying, as Ameka members, that's where your first priority should go. If we don't bring or participate economically, this baby will always remain stunted, isn't it? 2 years to come, I may come and tell you, maybe where I'm a board member in Kamuvi, now we have reached 200 million. So, you will want to come to cooperation among cooperatives. And now you start looking for Mbao, Kaidre organize for a benchmarking tour, isn't it? So that we can come and run what is it unique you are doing to grow your circle, isn't it? But remember time lapses. So if we are to grow these organizations, we must be very committed with our savings. At no one time, nitaambia rafiki yangu, niletee mifupa ya supu kwa sako. Ama niletee avocado. But I will ask him to go and sell whatever he is selling and bring money to the circle to increase the share capital, isn't it? To increase his savings, to borrow more to expand his business so that the circle can grow. So, member economic participation is always a very central key principle and pillar within the cooperative movement. How do we reinforce this? Through what we are doing today, member education. Very key. Because just like the Bible says, keep on reminding us, not that we don't know these things, isn't it? But keep on reminding us. And that's why you always find among the calendar of a cooperative society, Member Education Day is always given prominence. Because we have to keep on talking to our members, emphasizing to them the reason to patronage what we are offering, isn't it? So the next one is autonomy and independence. You normally find that cooperatives are a little bit independent but also autonomous of each other. And that's why we are saying cooperation among cooperators, isn't it? I have told you I am a board member of a Sacco, isn't it? I'm an employee of a Sacco, and I have come to talk to a Sacco. Isn't it? Not breaking any rule, but simply because we must keep on benchmarking, keep on talking. So the whole of this week, you realize there was a seminar in Mombasa, one organized by Cusco, isn't it? For cooperative readers. It was there, the annual conference. I attended the one for last year, personally. So, but it's always a forum where cooperators are brought together to benchmark, isn't it? So next time, purpose to attend, you can send a representative, isn't it? So that you can appreciate on that need. And therefore, the last one is concern for community. So when we talk about the concern for community as a principle, remember a cooperative society, it's not a profit-making venture. What we do in a cooperative, we do our business, isn't it? In a socio-economic empowerment. If we happen to get something extra, we share. In cooperatives, we don't say we made a profit, isn't it? We always use the word surplus. Because we are not profit-driven. It's more of a community-based concern. And therefore, every day, what we do, and that's why you normally find interest rates in cooperatives are not as exorbitant, isn't it? In cooperatives, you will not find so many withdrawal charges. For example, to access the service in a cooperative, you always realize it is subsidized because we work to empower socio-economic empowerment of the community. If we get something extra, we always say we had a surplus. And that's what we say. Those who had invested in shares will get a 10%. Those who had now brought their savings say they will get 8%. And it becomes that way for that year, isn't it? If you are not a shareholder in a commercial bank, for example, you don't have any shares in cooperative, don't have any shares in APSA, you don't have any shares in equity, even if you have 20 million there, isn't it? At the end of the year, when they will also declare their profits, wewe hakuna kitu utapata. Why? Because what they make belongs to their owners. You are just a customer. But in a cooperative, you are a member. And that goes back to our principle number 3, economic participation. That's why we always emphasize people to invest more. Because at the end of the day, you will get a return. Therefore, as we move forward in our presentation, we may want to talk about, just a minute. Oh, yeah, it's much better. You see now when we talk about the governance within the cooperative, remember we said it encompasses so many people, isn't it? And each within building the wall has a responsibility. So, what is the responsibility of each member in building the walls of our circle? One is patronage, isn't it? So, if you became a member, you have never taken a loan, you have never, you don't bring your money, you don't participate even in meetings, isn't it? What are you? So, and that reminds me of, what do we call it? It reminds me of an example we were given. So, of a young boy who went to a certain village, isn't it? And he met a very big man. And what he asked this man, so, are you a doctor? Because he thought this man was the village doctor. Are you a teacher? No. Are you the prabber? No. So what the boy concluded, what a waste. Isn't it? But this person was so big, but the boy found him not useful to that community. How do we become useful in the construction of the wall? Through patronage. Being good ambassadors. Talking good to our friends and our relatives about this circle. So, if you are not bringing your own money, how will you convince others? Isn't it? You must first own ownership so that you can evangelize to someone else to become a member. And that's why we must keep on telling members the need of being the good ambassadors of Ameka. How we have been able to grow at Kamuvi it's because of that referral system. Somebody came and was assisted, he goes and brings somebody else. And you can see within the same time frame, isn't it? We have more tripod than you. So patronage of the Sacco activities, support to leadership. Remember, one of the responsibilities of the member is to elect who is to represent them. So you cannot elect the people, then you are the first to demean or to talk ill of those leaders, isn't it? So supporting the leadership of the Sacco, it's also a key aspect in the construction of the wall left to the member. Active participation also in elections of officials, because remember we talk of one man, one vote within a cooperative. And that happens during the AGM. So, if your bylaws allows virtual voting, for example, and an AGM was called, these people are the people to elect the officials. Then, that is a key responsibility also of a member. Appointment of auditors. It's also a function left to the members. Because other than the supervisory committee, there is also an external person to ensure the books are kept in order, isn't it? And that it's left to our members. Approval of books of account, and lastly, members. Economic participation. That I will still re-emphasize. It is what makes a Sacco glow, isn't it? And the beauty is, being a Christian-based Sacco, chances of what you bring on, isn't it, will be more safeguarded than what we see in other personalized Saccos. Because those are people who are abusing the cooperative movement. You cannot start a Sacco on your own. And you start collecting money, isn't it, in the name of a Sacco. So those are people abusing and giving the cooperative movement the bad name. And that's why many people have shied away from investing in Saccos. So you have to keep on telling your members and demonstrating to them. Our Sacco have 9. I don't know whether you are 9 board members, isn't it? There is also the supervisory committee, a key organ in the governance structure of the Sacco. We have a management. We have an office, physical office. We have credible systems that also safeguards your money. So if members are trained and Member Education Day becomes a very good forum for members to interact with these things, they are able to gain confidence, and now they become more active in the affairs of the Sacco. So another one, the board has very few responsibilities. One is just about the strategy, because they are the owners and drivers of this strategy. What is our strategic focus? Where do we want to take Ameka in the next 3 years? Do we have targets which are measurable as the board, that we want to grow share capital or loan book from that 1 million to 90? And what are the specific strategies that we need to have? Do we have a strategic objective in terms of expansion? For example, other than our office here, do we envisage having a satellite office, say in Kasarani? If we went this way and went to Maloloi, for example, do we have a catchment of people whom we can recruit to be our members. Having very clear strategic view of where we need to take the organization. So, Steve and Tim, maybe they need to reevaluate. Is it that the strategies for growth we had are not up to the times? Dynamics change, isn't it? Yeah. Nowadays, 14-seaters are being phased out. If BRT was to be effective, we are moving to the electric mode of transport. And the question is, what is the next, isn't it? Remember, we are not talking about what is in being now. If we are to achieve that aspect, we need to think in the future. What is the next way of deposit mobilization? What is the next way of giving loans to our members, isn't it? What is the next way or the next avenue of investing our money? Is it in boards? Is it in RAD? Is it in other circles? Having that strategic view of how to grow our business, the development of procedures and policies. That $1 million, quite substantial. The moment you reach about 100 million, as we shall see in the future of regulation, isn't it? That $1 million, you are still under the State Department of Cooperatives. Currently, we have a mother ministry, Ministry of Cooperative and Enterprise Development. But the moment you hit 100 million in terms of shares, in terms of deposit and loans, you move to the next level of, the next level of regulation, being SASLA. So, as a board, we need to start contemplating which are these mandatory policies and procedures that we must have in place, isn't it? So that when we reach that level, the transition will be very easy. Because we have maybe a strategy or a policy on membership, policy on finance, policy on credit, policy on ICT, and others. So that aspect of development of policies is a purview of members, organizing member information. One of the things we have always learned in the cooperative, members may know, isn't it? And people join thinking Ameka, it's like a movie, it's like Ameka, it's like Tembo Sacco, it's like Safaricom Sacco. No, there is what we said, the independence and autonomy of Ameka Sacco, isn't it? Otherwise, we all could have been at Tembo Sacco or any other Sacco. But do members know the distinction that why we exist as Ameka? So the role of the board also is to inform the members so that there is that distinction between us, isn't it? And the Sacco that price Maloloi here. We are all Saccos, but who are we as Ameka Sacco? Sisi ni nani? And why are we members of Ameka Sacco and not any other Sacco? Isn't it? So that constant information flow that reinforces and builds our loyalty is a role of the board in building the wall. Remember we said, just like Nehemiah was rebuilding the wall, we need each and every person to go back to the wall. Na kwa sababu hatutaenda, kila mtu ataenda sehemu yake, yetu ni gani kama board. Isn't it? Ya member tumeona. And lastly, oversight of management. Because all these people, even where I'm a board member, I'm not there 24/7, isn't it? Members are not here 24 hours a day. There is a dedicated resource in terms of management that is tasked with the daily learning of the cooperative, isn't it? So who oversees that person to ensure that the policies and procedures are being followed? That is the work of the Board of Management. And supervisory now also checks on the board and that other function. Then there are more of audit. But the board also have its distinct committee. The committee on loans, the committee on education and marketing, the committee on finance, all those and others as the board. But that is the role of the board in rebuilding the wall. Because remember, we are saying just like those days, we must identify where we pray. Tukiingia uwanja wa mpira kila mtu, tunaendanga kucheza sisi wote. Goalkeeper ako pale, kuna watu wa defense, isn't it? Kuna watu, those who know football, kuna watu tunaita wingers, right and left, midfield, striker, and spectators. But all, isn't it, work in tandem to make the bigger picture. So management, execution of strategies. Remember we said the board will say we want to go here, isn't it? But we are not there. There is to say we want to have 1,000 members this year. Management and team now decides how do we achieve those numbers. But in consultation with the board for execution of those strategies. Day-to-day operations of the Sacco, maximizing shareholder value. Remember we said a shareholder, anybody who invests in Ameka expects a return, isn't it? We all go to plant maize and yam and cabbages, we expect a return. Same way. So what we plant, we leave to management to prudently manage those resources. But now we have our prayers. So we have auditors, we have a role to pray, isn't it? We have government officers. This is Kasarani sub-county, isn't it? Yeah. We know we have cooperative officers. We also have Apex, and all play a role, isn't it, in the management of our institutions. Also, being a Sacco-based church, the management of a church also have a role, isn't it, in one way or another, to ensure we are. Otherwise, they would have kicked you out. Waseme endeni mtafute ofisi yenyu. But because they are also important stakeholders, isn't it, they have offered a working environment for us to operate and run the affairs of Ameka. Do you pay rent? Kaume, do you pay rent for the office you pay? It's necessary. It's necessary. Otherwise, if you get used to free things, isn't it? It also constrained your exploration of how you can make more money. And lastly, we have regulators. So, the key pillars of a Sacco. You cannot talk about the Sacco without talking about share capital, isn't it? Because it is the key foundation of the base of a cooperative. You can never talk about any Sacco, isn't it, without talking about the share growth. And what are we saying? We need to grow our share capital. We need to talk about deposit and savings. We need to talk about revenue streams. If you go to a company like M-Pesa, isn't it? They charge for each and everything. So, it's very key identifying the extra revenue streams. Bwana Share, how you can grow multiple products. Sijui huko tuna products ngapi, ama ni moja tu, ama ni mbili tu, ama ni 5 or 6. There are 5 products. And why not 9? Isn't it? It's a question. Yeah, we know we have circles which only have 1 or 2. So, is 5 the optimal that Ameka can have, isn't it? Innovation requires us to continuously develop and improve on that. Wallet share, doing more businesses. And I have said, anyone who have those 5 products, well and good, isn't it? Anyone who has 3, well and good. But let us maximize on the number of products we can offer our members. And the question is, why would I leave Ameka, which has a product I need, and I go seek it somewhere? From a Shama, isn't it? Or from a commercial bank, or even from another circle. So, those are things we always need to keep pondering. How can we serve our members more so that they can patronize all the products we have? Customer loyalty, customer satisfaction, is the product meeting the members' need? Questions we can ask ourselves. And membership growth. Cooperatives grow because of their members, isn't it? You know, he is a very good political friend of mine. Even in politics, you win because of the numbers you are able to attract to your head. But we are also saying, let us also recruit quality members. Members who will give their value, isn't it? Who will invest more in and who will challenge us more. Because if 485 members are okay being served here, it will be okay for the management. But imagine you recruited 200 more who will insist maybe to be served outside there, or to have a satellite office, for example. We must grow our members, even diaspora. Kama uko na member wa diaspora? Alafu wako ndani, and let us, because we shall see, do we need to open the common board so that we can recruit more members? Loan growth, because it is the highest income earner in any cooperative or in a lending institution. So, ikiwa hatukopi, isn't it? What will happen? Watu watalete pesa zikae kwa bank, mwisho wa mwaka tuanze kupiga makelele, sako hailipi dividend. But 80% of the revenue of the sako comes from the loan group. That is the fact. Almost 80% of your revenue will come from the loan we give, that interest we charge. So, if the credit committee finds itself not working, wanapata application bili after 2 months, and money is there, isn't it? How do we campaign for members to borrow more? Because you sell the need for borrowing, people borrow. So if you also don't market your loans to your members, pesa itakuwa tu. isn't it? Yeah, just encourage people to borrow. How they will repay, we shall deal with it. Also the people who are growing in numbers. Isikue, out of the 485, only 100 who have borrowed. So what are we doing with 385 who have not borrowed? Is it that they don't have money needs? Chances are no, isn't it? Have we solved the need to borrow? We need to explore, to grow our numbers and also our quality, to emphasize on members to repay back. Siku hizi inakuanga ngumu sana because when auditors come, akiona watu hawalipi, anafanya kitu inaitwa provision, isn't it? And a provision is an expense. So, akiona loan hailipwi, anasema kwa sababu hizi loans haziwezi kalipika, let us expense them as possible losses. What that means, ile income kidogo tulikuwa tumetengeneza, sasa tumeichukua to make a provision. So, as a circle, repayment of loans, and a timely basis, it's also very key. Proper monitoring, but also recovery. COVID came with a lot of challenges, isn't it? Na ni watu wengi sana walikopa pesa wakasema biashara ilienda chini. But can we sing that song even in 2023 and 2024? Nilikupatia pesa, COVID ilikuja, yes, isn't it? But the circle needs to recover the money back. Whose money was given out? It was for another member. So the member who never borrowed to be affected by COVID should get his money back, isn't it? So recovery is a key aspect within the loan process. Na tutaiona the next slide because it is very controversial. How do we go about getting our money back? Tuuze gali, tuchukue pesa ya guarantor, tuchukue deposits za members and so forth. But we need to recover back that money to the members. So guarantorship, guarantor ni nani? For example, my friend, what is your name? Yeah, Geoffrey. Geoffrey, ukishikwa na polisi leo, isn't it? Na upelekwe, which is the nearest police station tukiwa hapa? Tuseme umepelekwa Kasalani, isn't it? Na kesho upelekwe Olmande, upelekwe kotini. Uambiwe, uweke cash bail ama guarantor, isn't it? Huna cash bail, mimi ni rafiki yako, useme mbao kuja, ukue guarantor wangu kotini, isn't it? What does that mean? Umeachiliwa. What that means, isn't it? Ukikosa kuenda kotini, koti itatafuta nani? Kosi itatafuta guarantor. Kwa sababu guarantor alisema, liwe liwalo. Asipokuja kotini, si ndio? Ni mimi nitamsimamia. Is it true? Na akikosekana, what will the court do? Itatafuta warrant. Na usimamishwe pale useme, huyu mtu alienda wapi. That is the same when it comes to loan. That if you take a loan and you accept to guarantee someone else, that is the reality. Tukasema sala, sindio? Because we are saying an individual who promises to pay a borrower's debt in the event that the borrower's defaults, on the loan obligation becomes a guarantor. The person who promises. So, when you guarantee somebody a loan, you are making a promise. But if he defaults, I will pay that money. So, and it is covered in law of contract. Hata tukienda kotini, as long as there is an instrument, you consented to be a guarantor to someone else, you are still liable to pay that money. So, that written, I know they have guarantor forms, isn't it? So before you reach there, or before you are paid, your signature to be a guarantor to someone, let us remember it has a legal implication. It has a legal implication. But what is the Sacco obligated to do? The Sacco should first make a demand for payment in writing from the debtor. But the debtor should pay. If the debtor pays, the guarantor comes in. So in principle, the creditor ought to issue the guarantor with sufficient notice of default by the principal debtor and demand for payment. So sometimes we get carried away and people become very personal. But the Sacco is, what do we call it? Sacco inanidhulumu. Ama Sacco haifuatilii ule mwenye alikopa. Kwa nini inakujia my savings? But what the Sacco should do, have sufficient evidence that we have written these letters to this person and you are in copy and you know he is not paying. The guarantor also has a right to call the principal debtor to pay the amount of the debt guaranteed. The same way, I am obligated to produce Geoffrey in court, isn't it? Even you, as the person who guaranteed someone else, you have a responsibility to go to that person and to demand he pays back ile pesa alikopa. So, guarantorship comes with that responsibility. And you are allowed now to have accurate and verifiable, timely and regular accounts updates from the Sacco. So, ukiskuma mtu, because you allowed yourself to be the guarantor, unakuja kwa management and you are allowed to access that money. But eventually, remember your deposit can be recovered. Very important for people to know that concept. Either you pay on behalf of him, or the Sacco ends up taking your deposits. Hii mambo ya kuskip installments. Ate unaamka, unafikiria leo hii mwezi sitalipa. Hii mwezi sitalipa. Wacha nilipe hiyo ingine. Isn't it? Really common in Saccos. And we all give good reasons. But remember, the priority number one should be paying for your Sacco loan. Priority number one. Why? It is the same Sacco that assisted you when you had nowhere else to go. Now ulisema, I will pay my loan in 12 installments, isn't it? For example. So, if you skip with your 10,000, I skip this month, she skips her 20,000, somebody else keeps 6,000. So, if people in a month skip 100,000, hawajalipa 100,000, isn't it? what happens to a member who had asked for 100,000 loan? Atapata hiyo mwezi kweli? Mimi wakati nilikuwa nakopa, the Sacco ensured I have my 200. What happens when I skip? So, am I not denying another member the chance to take a loan? Isn't it? Is that within the principles of cooperative? No. We always encourage and insist members to repay their loans on time. So, what happens when you skip? Definitely you will pay more interest. Sindio? Kwa sababu ya hiyo mwezi hujalipa, si utalipa tu interest. And because the loan is on reducing balance, you will end up paying the loan for a longer period with more interest. But more importantly, it is the issue with insurance. Nani asha insure gari? Who has a vehicle? Everybody knows an insurance company will always look for an excuse not to pay a claim, isn't it? And for a fact, if I give you a loan today for 12 months, isn't it? There is an expectation within 12 months that loan will be paid. But because you have been skipping some months, so after 12 months, upate the member has died. Loan imekuwa imelipika. So who pays for that loan? Familia inakuja kusema loan ilikuwa na insurance. Lakini hawakumbuki the insurance had expired. So can insurance pay for your cover when it is expired? Sahi hata ukigogewa gari na insurance iko expired, si unajiambia tu, wacha tu nijipelekee garage, isn't it? That also happens, even to loan facilities. Now imagine a 600 loan, or $1 million. If you give people loan ya 1 million, haiwezi kalipwa, and the beneficiary, your family, umewaachia mzigo. Because the money will have to be paid by yourself, your guarantors, and other family members. So the reason why we encourage our members to pay their loans of time, so that they also expire on time. And we save ourselves a lot of agony. It's always important to teach our members that concept. We try to ignore it, but it has serious ramifications. Mambo ya savings. Ameka is? S starts for savings and? Savings and? The word Sacco. It starts for savings and? So which comes first? Savings comes first, isn't it? Why was this word not written as tulete hii credit hapa mbele? You get? Why does credit not come first? Now imagine how that word would be led. Simply because in a Sacco, you save first, isn't it? Then you borrow. But now you cannot save, you borrow, and you terminate your savings. Haiwezi kafanyika hivyo. Save, you borrow, then you think you can stop saving. In a cooperative, the money you said, ile pesa unatuma, the first charge on a member sent to the Sacco should be on the savings. Kwa hivyo manager wa Sacco, mbao wakituma 5,000, kama tulikubaliana kila mwezi, savings ni 2,000. 2,000 should go to a savings account. Lakini huwezi ukatuma 5,000 ya loan, isn't it? Halafu ukose kutuma ya savings. The manager should always take pesa ya savings first. And do you know why? You see, if Steve, the chairman, had borrowed a loan of 100,000 and she is guaranteed by Gatobo and this lady, isn't it? Nyinyi ndio guarantor wa Steve. Na tumempatia shilingi 100,000 and we agreed he should be paying 10,000 per month. Isn't it? So, what happens is, if he sends that money to the Sacco and you take 2,000 and put to the savings account, sindio? Wajua unaongeza savings yake, sindio? What does that do to the guarantor? Liability ya guarantor itakuwa chini. So, if Steve had borrowed 100,000, isn't it? Na alikuwa na savings say ya 20,000. So, within the next few months or 10 months, tutakuwa tumehakikisha amesave another 20,000, isn't it? Because 2 times 10 is 20, plus 20 he had. Sasa akona savings ya ngapi? 40, isn't it? If Steve was to default na ashindwe kulipa, hata loan ikiwa 60,000, isn't it? Atakuwa na savings ya ngapi? 40. So nikichukua 40 nitoe kwa loan, itabaki 20. Guarantor naweza muitisha 10 because they are 2, isn't it? But now imagine I allowed Steve to only be paying the loan. Alipe miaka 10, the 10 months, na amekuwa akilipa 5,500. Loan itakuwa juu na savings hakuna. You get? So when a member saves his own money, it becomes very advantageous even to the guarantors. So the responsibility of the board and the management is to ensure members are saving. So that in the case of any eventuality, the burden to others also becomes very easy. So the first charge when a member sends money should be on the savings. Hii maneno ingine tutaongea baadaye. But kwanza tumeweka savings kado. Na the more you save, the more you want in terms of rebates, isn't it? Sasa dividend tukisema ni 10,000 na umesave 20,000, siyo ni 2,000, isn't it? 10% na pengine ulikuwa na 20,000, si utapata like 2,000. But now this member we have ensured may save another 20,000. So dividend itakuwa 40, isn't it? And more members get the services we require. The future of the Sacco, digitization. Do we all have to be coming here to do loan forms? Isn't it? Yes, I know you may have a mobile loan, but is it adequate? How do we go paperless? Yes, the only Sacco that have gone paperless is Safaricom, isn't it? I think Sacco, their processes are, and maybe somehow steamer. But also digitization is something we need to think of. How do we serve our digital or our abroad members? It's through digital systems. The system we are using, isn't it? Is it compatible even as we move forward? How will this system be when we moved from 485 members to 2,000, will it still accommodate that huge the database of 2,000 members? So it's forward-looking, as I said. What is the next practice other than what we have now? And that's what research does. Do we need to open the common board if we were to increase our membership, for example? How does our membership policy look like as Ameka Sacco? So these people who operate these matatus, they have a lot of money. Some save in their circles, isn't it? But who said they cannot also become our members? How do we look at that aspect of opening the common board, like other circles? Getting more people who can join us and being more flexible. So that's the future we are talking about, issues of expansion. Do we feel we can expand even outside this jurisdiction? Which are these viable potential markets we can go and increase our foothold as Ameka? That's the future we are talking about. New ventures. Do you have the muscle to venture into housing for your members? Isn't it? Low-cost housing, they are there. How do we support our members within that maybe housing agenda? Do we need to buy land and subdivide for our members? Do we need to joint venture with others? The next is in terms of regulation. As I said, you know why the buffaloes are easily spotted by lions? Is because of their size, isn't it? Otherwise, a lion will take days to spot a squirrel or a rabbit. So, as you grow big, you start getting noticed. And the lions we are talking about, we have KRA will be interested into how you are doing your affairs. Wakuja waangalie hesabu waseme, you have not been filing adequate taxes. SASLA will be there. You have entered into a new regulatory regime, isn't it? So, and others will start noticing. So as a circle, we need to think about that, the era of regulation, and how it will affect us now moving into the future. And lastly, it's the issue of taxation, very contentious, particularly where the circle has corporate members. If you can avoid, just deal with primary member. If you can avoid, let Mbao not come with Mbao Enterprises and he becomes a member of Ameka. Let Mbao come as Mbao or Mbao Limited. You know Mbao Limited is a company, isn't it? But Robert Mbao is an individual. For small cooperatives, and let us deal with the primary member. Because when Mbao comes into your books, and the regulator or KRA notices, then your taxation regime is upskilled to corporate level. Nowadays, cooperatives, I think, pay about 5% in terms of taxes, isn't it? But now, you have moved from 5 to 30% just because of one person. It's avoidable, isn't it? So, always good to have that in mind in terms of membership. Because the little money you have made, and you now want 25% of that now to go away, and you have not made that from one person. Hata hamjatengeneza hiyo pesa from that one member. But he has made the taxman to get out so much. Question and answer. And good for being good students and good listeners. I'm through. Any question? Even those who are online, they will still be responded to.
Online people, those who are watching us online, please write your questions on the chat.
Thank you, Bao, for that insightful presentations. I want to seek some clarification on the last issue of the corporate members with respect to taxation. Can you expound on it? We have a limited company, OTIF, me, Mercy, and someone you form a group. That's a social group or a merry-go-round group. So, which does not have like a PIN entity. How do we also deal with that? Because that one is, we have some few members in that category as well.
Yeah, as I said, you see, originally, cooperatives were primarily based cooperatives, isn't it? And a primarily based cooperative was maybe a teacher saving cooperative, a coffee-based cooperative, a milk-based cooperative, which recognizes individual members as the owners. But in law, we also know if we register a group, self-help group, isn't it? If I go and register a business name, a sole proprietor, if I go and register a company, isn't it? If I go and register the company, I'm still able to operate legally. I can still open a bank account. But remember, the law in terms of taxation treats primarily cooperatives as unique. And that's why they don't attract the corporate taxation. So, even in terms of primarily cooperatives, they are taxed differently. Why? Because they are recognized as member-based. And a member is an individual person. So, the moment now a corporate comes, isn't it? Becomes a member of a circle. The moment a self-help group comes and become a member of a circle, we are circulating the old concept of primary membership. Now it becomes corporate membership. You get? And what does that mean? You are dealing with corporates. And the taxation regime, isn't it, changes. And this I'm talking of experience because if you audited and those are identified, you get a tax bill, isn't it? Because where we work, they came, yes, we have people who are limited companies, we are still members, we are working with them. But when they see the composition of membership, they now say you are no longer a primarily cooperative member. And the taxation regimes changes. So the profits you are making are not now, and you now, once you are given a bill, a tax bill, isn't it? You know you will be given a tax bill. Okay, now you start that process. Look for a good taxation person and try.
Let's get the next question.
Okay, thank you very much. Apollo and the rest, I'm asking this. I'm a member and I have 100,000 savings and I might have borrowed or not borrowed. Assume I've borrowed because I'm a good member. And the Carol, also a member, she has come to borrow. Out of my 100,000, the maximum I got was 300,000. Technically, I have no savings that is free. Or I don't know if I'm putting it so much. And I want to guarantee Carol, let's say 20,000 or 50,000. In this case, am I limited, like how much should I guarantee Carol? Or I can give everything, or to what extent can I commit my savings, which already I might have borrowed or not borrowed? Is there a capping of how much a member can guarantee a borrower? Thank you.
So you see in guarantorship, if you operate with a multiplier, isn't it? Say you operate with a 3 times multiplier. I have saved 100,000, so by default, I qualify 300,000, isn't it? So what is the exposure to the circle? 200,000, isn't it? So because already my 100,000 in case of anything can be knocked off and redeemed. So the people I'm looking for to guarantee must be adequate to raise the 200 that is exposed. And that is why I have said in my training, the more you insist on the person who borrowed to continue saving, the better. Tunaelewana? Kwa sababu mkiachilia huyu mwenye ako na 100 hataki kuongeza, isn't it? It becomes punitive to those others. So, let him build his ability to cover himself, thereby relieving those others. Because if he can save, you see now, if he can be made to continuously save, 2, 1, his saving inaongezeka, na loan inapungua, isn't it? So hata wenye walikuwa wamemguarantee, you know the people who had guaranteed him 100, if now the loan, you know you just do that mathematics. Kama loan imepungua na 20,000 from 300, isn't it? Imepungua na 20,000. So these people can only guarantee 180. Can only guarantee 180,000, isn't it? But if Kaume had increased his savings, even their guarantee comes down. If I had a lighting, I would have, but you can see what I'm saying. But we started with 300. Kaume has 100, the guarantors have 100 each. Loan ikipungua na 20, ni kumaanisha ile pesa galanta unaweza muitisha ni 90, isn't it? Assuming Kaume is not saving. But if Kaume saves, what he have also saved reduces hii pesa ya garanta. Kumaanisha if Kaume saves his own 20,000 also, you can only ask from the guarantors about 160, which is 80. Isn't it? Because now the 20 he have saved also reduces the exposure of guarantors. So the model works when we push the person who borrowed to save more, to continuously save, so that you realize now you have 20,000 which has been fed by Kaume paying 20 and saving 20. So somebody else comes, you have a headroom of 20,000 you can guarantee. But equally important in terms of guaranteeing cheap, it's always good when members form clusters. Hawa wanajuana, isn't it? And you form a group where we will be co-guaranteeing each other. Because you know, if your friends, because you are in the same circle, fails to pay, it is somebody whom you can talk to, isn't it? Na alipe. But when you guarantee anybody, you don't know the character of the person whom you are guaranteeing. So the easiest way to work around guarantorship is to have those clusters. People who are within, maybe they can be 5 of them, people who are 10, and they decide, in case one needs a loan, we can at least guarantee him. Simply because we can be able to enforce discipline of payment. But when you guarantee somebody you cannot have power and authority to enforce a payment, you leave yourself exposed. Are you clear?
Mr. Moria, I want us to hold a little bit so that we can give our second speaker time, and then we have questions and answers later. Shamiz has joined us from the cooperative, and I think because of time, we ain't given her time at 12, and I can see time has so much gone. So let us listen to Shamiz, and then we will have questions and answers later on. Let us give a loud of applause to our speaker. Thank you so much, Mr. Mbao. I also have questions. So at this point, we have Shamiz from the cooperative ministry. And as we have heard Mr. Mbao telling us, our Sacco currently, our deposit, it's below 100 million. So we are still under the cooperative. And that's why we have invited a representative from the cooperative to give us more knowledge about what is required of us as a Sacco. So Shamiz, welcome, please. Let's applaud as she comes.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Shamiz, and I'm from the Ministry of Cooperative. I'm an officer around Kasarani sub-county. So today, I think the speaker have done a lot of training, a good one. So I'll only add on that. I was told you have issues with the guarantor. Yeah, guarantorship is an issue. And it's not only an issue in Ameka Sacco. It's there, it has been there. So I'll just add a little note on what the speaker has said, yeah? So the other day, what happened? Yeah, every time I go to society, so I tell them, you see what we do, what we're here for. Please take loans. Please take loans. You know, because that is like what do you call a major income for SACCOs, for savings and credits. So they were like, Madam, we take loan with you should guarantors. Yeah, we have problems with these guarantors. They don't even want to guarantee each other. Why? They don't trust each other. People don't trust each other, and they're all in the same circle. So I was thinking, if you can't even guarantee each other, what is the whole point of this cooperative, yeah? What is cooperative? What's the meaning of cooperative? It's to benefit economically. It's where people come together. You benefit economically and socially. And by socially means, you interact socially. For example, in events of AGMs, education meetings, every time you meet, we are not here to just talk, and then once the meeting is adjourned, you just go. Kila mtu anaenda kwake. No, you're supposed to interact. You're supposed to get to know each other, kama members. You're not only here to benefit economically. Yes, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. But socially, why am I saying that? Because when you make friends around your society that you're in, it makes it easier for you to get a guarantor. Sindio? Because when you become a guarantor in a mansion, you're risking your money, just in case this person defaults. So you're risking money when you guarantee someone. So what happens? You have to guarantee someone that you know, someone you can at least trust, that who you to at least can pay the amount. Because you make friends. For example, for community Sacco, hizi Saccos, the community kama zenu, you have to know each other. You have to know Fulani. What does Mercy do? What kind of business does she do? At least, is she eligible? Can she pay back this loan? Yeah? So it is very important. And people have been struggling with that. So for guarantorship, we have 3 types. 3 types of guarantorship. One is the self-guarantorship. Yeah? Whereby a person anajigaranti mwenyewe. You don't even need a guarantor because you're taking less than what you have in savings. Yeah? So maybe, for example, you have like 200 and you just take it 20,000. So probably if you default in a that one makes sense. And then we have the 50-50 guarantorship. 50-50 means, for example, I'm a member, let's say. And I have 100,000 in my savings. And I want a loan of 300,000. That's 3 times my deposit, isn't it? I'm allowed to. I'm entitled to that. So you want 300. So what happens? See, 100 is secured already because you have the amount in your savings. And you agreed the rest of the 200,000 that is remaining, your guarantor wanalipa. In case you default, yeah? In case you default. And then we have the full guarantorship, where the guarantors allow you to, like in case you default, they pay. They pay the loan. So, members, I want to tell you, every time you guarantee someone, unafaa kujua, who's this person I'm guaranteeing? Yeah? Because in future, or if something happens, you can't blame the Sacco, you can't blame the committee that, oh, you're taking my money. That's the same way the speaker was saying, yeah? Oh, munatoa savings zangu, you're doing this. No, you guaranteed. Please read that form. Please read. Usome, ujue what una guarantee nini. You see some members, what they do, yeah? They just give you the form. And they're like, hey, please, I need you to guarantee this loan for me. Na hata ujasoma, labda amechukua long term. Maybe that person took a long term loan. Sindio? So, but here's the thing. In guarantorship, we have 3 parties, yeah? The loanee, that is the principal debtor. And then we have the creditor. Creditor is the Sacco, the society that is giving you the loan. And guarantors, our and deputy debtors, yeah? So, what do you do in case a loanee defaults? The creditor has the right of action against the guarantor. And what do you mean that? Okay, you can guarantee someone, yeah? But then you have rights. In case this person defaults, there are things that you can do. There are actions that you are supposed to take. Number 1, right of a guarantor. You are allowed to know when the loan is diligent. That is irregular loan payment. Every month, kama wame agree. If the person you have guaranteed the loan agreed, every month I will be paying 5,000 shillings. Please, enda kwa credit committee. You have to, you inquire, is this person paying? Because remember, when this person starts defaulting, hata wewe inakuwa disadvantage to you. You understand? It's a disadvantage. So you have to get evidence from the cooperative when the loan is defaulted. They have to notice. Lazima wakupe notice. And that is in terms of letter. The first month, the second month, the third month. The guarantor also has the right to know the total defaulted loan. Unafaa kushughulikia as if your money because you know next thing what is going to happen, yeah? So be alert. Once you guarantee someone who will alert, yeah, you have to know what is happening. And that's why I advise members, in these education meetings, please attend in good numbers. Yeah? Because when there is this low turnout, there is a lot of things you're missing. Angalia kama vitu we are discussing today, guarantorship. Or a lot of things the speaker has said, yeah? And some things you learn you're right. You learn the things that you're supposed to do in the society. What happens when you miss education meetings? You miss out. So always advise. This is very important. This is where you learn a lot of stuff. Yeah? So, another right, you have to call the loanee to meet his obligation. And you can only call the loanee to meet his obligations of paying, in case of a default, yeah? to pay his loan, kama mnajuana. If there's someone you're close with, if it is someone you associate with. But if you just guarantee someone because we're in the same circle, then how are you going to reach out to this person? It's hard. So, also, the guarantor has a right to sue the loanee after starting to pay defaulted loan in a civil suit or in the cooperative tribunal. In case mnasumbuana sana, you have the right. You are entitled. You can go to court and take him to court. Also, a guarantor has the right to benefit from securities provided by the loan defaulter. Akikupea security, that if I don't pay this loan, I'm going to do A, B, C, D. You have to take advantage, yeah? You take advantage of the situation. So, the only time, this is very important, yeah? The only time we discharge, there is the discharge of guarantors, is when the loan is fully paid. You see, there are some members who will come to the committee and tell them, you know, this person is not paying the loan. Me, I want to withdraw from being a guarantor. No, you can't. You can't. That's impossible. There are only few, because you agreed, we signed, yeah? So it's when the loan is fully paid. Number two, the death of a loanee. What happens if the process of paying a loan and then there's someone, you know, it happens every time. So usually what happens is members are insured, yeah? So the loan is paid by insurer. Loan inalipa na insurance. So it's good to be insured. Insurance inakusaving sana. So because when a loanee dies, you don't go you don't go to the families. Unasumbuana, sijui unabeba gari yake ama you do. So these things are planned. It happens. So when it happens and a member was insured, it's an added advantage. Insurance inalipa loan plus inalipa double. It pays the family double the money that you had. For example, tuseme ulikuwa na a loan of 500,000. The insurance pays you $1 million. Why? Because you're insured. So, also, when the guarantors are discharged, when the loanee suffers from a permanent disability, and they can't pay back their loan. You know, there's some circumstances, like hatuwezi zuia, it happens. Being there. Also, variation of terms in the principal contract without guarantor's consent, yeah? And we have where records are interfered with, in case you lose, even though that hardly happens, yeah? Hardly happens. And the guarantors can be changed if there is an agreement, like mkika chini. That's the only time, yeah? If you sit down and say, you know what, I don't want to be a guarantor anymore, then that one can be reviewed. But as a guarantor, you can't just decide, oh, I don't want to guarantee this person anymore. It has to be agreed. It has to be agreed. So in case of a default, we know the rules. First month, we give a letter to the defaulter and a copy to the guarantor. That is the first month, a loanee starts defaulting. The second month, we send letters to guarantors and a copy to the defaulter. Because you know sometimes some people are busy and you can't follow up at fulani analipa nini. So it's upon to the society, the committee, to send a letter to remind you that fulani akulipa. So be on the watch. The third month, what happened? The guarantors to start paying the defaulted loan. That is automatic, yeah? So, what happens when the defaulters decide, you have a loan and then you decide that I want to withdraw from these societies? So you see, there are members who go from society to society to society, okay, na tu wakizunguka kama merry-go-round. So what happened? In all withdrawal cases, members should give at most 60 days notice. At most. 60 days notice, yeah? At 2 months. So withdrawal, again, for loanee, is unacceptable unless the member's loan is repaid in full or the loan balance can be offset by member saving, which we do not encourage. Which we don't encourage for offset of loans, yeah? They're not good. I've seen that happen, some circles. Unapata mtu anaingia kwa committee in the name of, ndio sasa akichukua because they can easily access the loan, offset. I'm not paying. You know what? I'm withdrawing. Don't offset the loan. They do that. And it's not encouraging to most of the societies, yeah? So, a member of this one is for unemployed. The last one is for employed, yeah? Because the retired common bond. So what happens when a person in a society keeps defaulting? So we usually advise, we put them on CRB. Yeah? And some might say, oh, you see, hata ukiwaweka CRB, hata isaidi sana. It does. It does help. Or, for me, I usually suggest, why, as a committee, you decide, you come with a record. You come with a record of, the previous record of this person who's coming for the loan. Like, for example, the credit committee can do that, yeah? Mnakuja na record. So, even though we work together, even though we are in the same circle, if I want to guarantee you, kama nataka kuwa guarantor wako, I go and check your record first. And see if you've been defaulting, kama wewe ni mtu kulipa, all your records, all your credit records ikuwe somewhere. Maybe that way, we can deal with the defaulters. So every time they go and check your records, you're a defaulter, no one wants to guarantee you. But I'm not encouraging that, yeah? Because why are we here? Because we have a common bond as a society, isn't it? That is the cooperative law. Like, the principle is common bond. There's something imetuleta hapa. Hata kama ni community based, there's something. We have family members. We have friends. Yeah? So, guarantorship has been an issue with many societies. That's why you find out pesa iko, but people are not even taking loans in some societies because they don't have guarantors. But I think if we come up with ideas, yeah, kama kuweka record the defaulters or put them on CRBs, we cannot we cannot come up with a solution fully, but at least we can start from somewhere. Isn't it? Yeah. So unless you have questions, yeah. Questions? Because the speaker has covered a lot of training, I guess.
Okay, thank you. On recovery of savings from the guarantors, I want you to recap on the first month what happens, the second month what happens. At what point in time do you recover from the savings, from the guarantor savings? And if the savings are not sufficient, what next? Thank you.
So here's the thing, yeah? The savings are always sufficient. There's no way you can give loan to more than you have. That's why we need guarantors. If I'm giving you, kama society inakopea tuseme 100,000, they will make sure, they can't just give you because they review, the credit committee review, yeah? They have to make sure this person plus these two combined will make up to 100,000. And so the loan is recoverable. So in case of a default, this is what happens, yeah? The credit committee write a letter informing the loanee to pay. And also write to the guarantors that Fulani didn't pay the loan, has started defaulting. That's the first month. So the second month, another letter is written to the loanee and the guarantor. Again, reminding them that it's 2 months. So, the third month, what happened? After the cycle does not wait for you, they just go straight to the saving and start deducting. Yeah. So it's 3 months, not more than 3 months. That is the law. But in some societies, like during the COVID, yeah, people were defaulting, even taking more time. But it happens because of the situation. Everybody else was suffering, yeah? But for the law, it's 3 months. That is it. After 3 months, you start deducting from the savings of the guarantors and the loanee.
Do you deduct the full amount at once, or you deduct the monthly repayment amount?
The same way that has been agreed. You see, you have an agreement. The same way that has been agreed every month. Utakuwa unakatwa.
He's asking,
yeah.
Do you deduct the full amount? Let's say if the loan was at 300,000 and he has defaulted 300,000.
Now you deduct in portions. The same way we agreed. Even the guarantor agreed every month. You understand? You agreed. If it defaults, you'll be paying 10,000. So that is what will be deducted from your account. Yeah. In portions.
You recover the monthly payment.
Yeah. You recover the monthly payment.
Monthly basis. On a monthly basis. On a monthly basis.
Yeah. Until the loan is fully paid.
Excuse me. And on the cases where the member does not do the monthly deposit, do we still reduce on monthly?
Sorry?
On the cases where the member does not do the monthly deposit, so do we also deduct monthly?
Why don't they do monthly deposit?
Yes,
do you have
some
societies that don't do monthly deposit?
Yes, some.
Okay, so you're asking how the loan will be deducted.
Then how do we deduct that?
See, they have enough money then. They have enough money in the account, in their saving. You will always have enough money to recover from that, for the loan.
We do once. So what is the wrong thing with that?
You do what?
We recover the money once. If you have defaulted 200...
I don't think that's a problem.
So we can... It's an option.
Yeah. Remember, this is a defaulter, yeah? They have bad reputation to the society.
Then that is fine.
Yeah.
What she's saying, we deduct the whole amount from the guarantor at once. If they have defaulted 300,000, we recover the whole amount at once. And then now when the guarantor pays, when the loanee pays, we start now refunding the guarantor.
Yeah, sure.
So it can happen like that. No mistake in that.
Yeah.
Any way can work.
Hello.
Yes.
I have something to say first, then I'll ask the question. I'm sure it may have been covered, but it's good also to clarify further.
Sure.
First, I take opportunity to commend this committee and also for giving us this day, for this Education Day. I'm one of the people who started this Sacco very many years back. I benefited from it, but then when I say benefited, I took a loan. And of course, before COVID, things had started happening, and I was not I saw myself not servicing the loan. And it reached a stage where the Sacco decided now to go to my guarantors and get the loan. They even were given letters, and then, but somehow there was some wise counsel from here, and they sorted the matter. The matter was sorted, and my guarantors were never deducted any money. So I thank the committee. I was not alone, but when they came with that decision, I'm very grateful for several members, because we didn't know what will happen. This is when now COVID came and finished whatever we used to do, tukafunga maofisi tukaenda nyumbani. That is one. Number two, I know this may have been covered, but I'm just wondering that I've joined Sacco, I've saved 100,000. I need 100,000. Do I need guarantors? That is one. Yeah, I guess that's the question.
Sorry, repeat your question again.
No, he's asking.
Yeah.
He has saved like 100,000.
Yeah.
And he wants a loan of 100,000. Does he need guarantors? Just answer. Just answer.
So that's like a withdrawal, I would say, yeah? That's like, because you see what societies do, yeah? They'll tell you, I have 100,000 in my savings and I need 100,000, yeah? So, and you want to compare pesa ni yetu. No, the money belongs to the society. So when you take all your savings, how, are you still going to be in the Sacco and paying interest on top of it? Now, because you know, for that situation, it's very hard, because how are we knowing that you just come in for the money and leave the Sacco? It's a bit, yeah? You can, yeah. Unless you're, yeah. Yeah, the Sacco also needs to make interest. Yes, I get it. But the thing is, the Sacco have products that they provide. Come on, school fees, there's emergency loans, you can still come. Because how can you be a member and not all your savings, yeah? Because the Sacco needs interest. Why are we here? How are we going to grow the Sacco? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the only way you can just self-guarantee yourself, I think, is when you're taking less than you're saving. Yeah. I don't think I agree with that.
You answered.
Unless you're withdrawing from the society.
Let me give an experience on that.
Yeah.
I found not once, not twice such request. I go further and call the customer. Really, are you honest that you want to take loan or you want just to exit? So you realize there are those who say, you know, niliona nimefinyika, nikashindwa nitaanza wapi. So then we have an option, emergency or self-guarantee, but still we'll be able to benefit both the member and the Sacco. So if you're 100,000, I can maybe even say we will give you 90 or 80. So either way, I will still have you and retain you. And also, you see, you have to have some level of responsibility for you to be keen with the Sacco. So if I let you with 100,000, what if you weren't guaranteed the Kaume? So you expose me. So we have to discuss. And I've done this one not once, not twice. And so we make sure we've facilitated and empower the talent that you have as a Sacco. Yes. 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 It is. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Correct. Okay, fantastic. Again, we do case by case.
Yeah.
So.
No, the credit committee can discuss that, yeah? But for what I know, Having 100 in your savings and taking 100 is impossible, nearly impossible, yeah? Yeah. But the credit committee can always come up with something that is helpful to the society, to the members. Always, yeah? Yeah, thank you.
Questions can by the way be addressed to Samis or Mbau. Any questions you have, it's an open session.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, my question is, can a guarantor guarantee many people or two people at the same time? One guarantor. Somebody, maybe you have guaranteed somebody?
No, not possible. One person and a guarantee mtu moja. That is it. Yeah, you can't guarantee more than one person.
Thank you.
Yeah. Come help me, kindly.
No, in Kenya, we normally first say there is the age of the majority, isn't it? The capacity to contract. We normally say it's about 18 years. You have the capacity to contract. So, the capacity to guarantee. You can only guarantee to the maximum available of your savings, isn't it? You know you cannot guarantee what you don't have. Assume you have a savings of 1 million. You can opt, and it's always open in that guarantee form. You indicate to the extent to which you are guaranteeing. That Kaume is taking a loan of 200,000, he has come to me. I am at liberty to say I can only guarantee to 40,000. Period. It is upon Kaume to go and look for the other guarantors, isn't it? To fulfill the requirement. If now I come back and I want 300, isn't it? Remember you had 1 million, 40 is gone. But you can still somebody else come and you feel you can guarantee 60,000. So the maximum allowable, it's within your limit, but it should not be exhaustive of your savings. Taking into consideration, you also have laundry obligations, isn't it? Tunaelewana? Yeah. You can only commit within your capacity to guarantee. So you can just guarantee more than one person. If you opt to do, you must be very specific. Remember I have said, if you have a savings of 100,000, isn't it? You know we don't limit the number of guarantors one can get. No one said you should have 3 guarantors. What happens when the 3 guarantors, their savings is not adequate to guarantee you? You bring the 4th, the 5th, or what the Sacco wants is the money to be fully guaranteed, isn't it? Remember we said, somebody who have 100,000 can borrow 3 times, for example. That's the multiplier. You know you can say your multiplier is 5. You know a Sacco is not limited to the number of times you can multiply one person's deposit. Because where I work, we even do a multiplier of 10. You can save, you can have 100,000, and I multiply by 10, I can give you 1 million. But this 1 million should be secured, isn't it? You can opt to secure with a title. You can opt to secure with a logbook or any other acceptable security the Sacco has agreed to take. Tumeelewana? So, if your multiplier is 3, somebody with 100,000 qualifies for 300,000, isn't it? So the question is, out of the 300,000, how much is unsecured? Si ni 200, kwa sababu kuna 100 yake. So in case of default tomorrow, the Sacco can lose 200,000. So now, if I go and look for her and she has 40,000 savings, now you are kona 10, so the total savings of the two ni 50, isn't it? So if Kaume defaults, what will happen? If she agrees to pay the loan, well and good. But remember, you say you can take the deposit 100%. Ukweli. Sasa, a member has defaulted with a 300 loan. Umechukua yake 100, first guarantor ni 50,000, second guarantor ni 10,000. So, from whom do you recover the other 150? Because if she stops sending money to Ameka, isn't it? Na kuwe a dormant member, where will you ever recover that money? Sasa umechukua savings za borrower, umechukua zote za guarantors. Uko na deni ya 150. From whom do you recover this money? It's a very valid, difficult question to answer. And that is why I have said, we assume there is continuity, that she will continue being a member of the Sacco. What if she refuses? And that's why we normally say, you guarantee to the extent of your capacity. So, the way out is the Sacco to decide. If you opt to take that risk of just having 2 guarantors, isn't it? You know it is a business decision. But the bottom line is, regulation 23 or 32 of the Cooperative Act said for any money given, it must be fully secured. So it's open. Now the Sacco decides on the securities to use. If Ameka decides to just use 2 guarantors, irrespective of their savings, isn't it? Well and good. But if we insist to use more guarantors, as long as the money is given, well and good. That's why I have said it's more of a Sacco policy decision. That this is how we want our guarantorship to work. But I have said the best is where someone is left at liberty to state how much you can guarantee. But remember what I said earlier. Guarantorship works well within clusters. That's the best way where how guarantorship works. Like the 4 ladies behind Kaume, if they know each other comfortably, we can say we will be guaranteeing each other. Because you can go and enforce. And if a member fails to pay, he can come and share with you, isn't it, the challenge they are facing. So it's a very emotive issue, particularly where money is concerned. Remember, I have said, you can run the risk of losing a really good customer, isn't it? Because of a defaulted loan. The share supervisor may be a very good customer, sets his 20,000 to the Sacco every month, takes his loans, pays, brings new members to this circle. But from nowhere, I have gone to his account, isn't it? I have decided now to take 50,000, he guaranteed somebody. If he feels he has been treated unfair, he can also decide to stop patronizing the circle. What happens? We lose his monthly deposits, he just pays his loan, and even stops referring other members. What that means, isn't it? From a growth perspective, we are also now not benefiting from his contribution. So it becomes a very murky area. But it is always left better to what people agree. Remember, as the cooperative officer have said, it's a common board. But what people do is to abuse that commonality. Otherwise, you know, when it was started, it was very perfect and it has always worked well. But now with time, people abuse that philosophy. And now it becomes very difficult to enforce. But in circles where that discipline is there within members, conflicts becomes very easy. Because a member knows, I have an obligation to repay my loan and to repay on time. And if I have a challenge in repaying my loan, I can come and say, allow me 1 or 2 months with a possible explanation. But I will assume when things, isn't it? Without the need of creating that enmity of going for guarantors, because it becomes very painful. And every day, it becomes a case day. Every day when credit comes, a member comes complaining. And when those complaints become many, those members stop patronizing the circle. So, essence of these forums is to enlighten and to educate members, particularly, as I said, the members' responsibility in terms of constructing the wall. You cannot be a good construction worker when you borrow so that your guarantors can be punished. Isn't it? Yeah.
Maybe you can comment on why it's not encouraged for management to guarantee each other and management. And if I want a loan, do I have to stick to members guaranteeing myself, or I can still use the management?
There are things we normally call corporate governance principles, isn't it? You know what it does? We try as much as possible to remove conflict of interest and cases of collusion. Because yes, we are at management, areas that people may think these people want to take advantage of their positions. But I think the Act is very clear on who a board member cannot guarantee. Because remember, you are a member first, isn't it? You are a member first before you become a board member. So you are still entitled to some, but now the Act also tries to regulate, simply because trying to enforce the corporate governance aspect. I think that is the way to go. But even to the members who are online, wengine wanaweza kuwa walikuwa tu hapa Kasarani, isn't it? Ama hapa Mavale. It is always important when members attend meetings physically. the best that is always encouraged, and that we shall still insist. It is always the best attendance when members attend physically. Because you see, you know, like now, if it was an AGM, and she will tell you, the first thing she looks is that how many people are here, is the quorum there? You see, it's difficult to know how many people are logged in, for example, so that a vote is necessary. So members of Ameka Sacco, participation in Sacco activities. A day is not enough. We can sacrifice for our Sacco. That is why we have invested. We just need to re-emphasize, it's always important, members to attend Sacco events. And I'm through.
Let us clap for Mr. Mbau. Yeah, I know we have so much to ask. Personally, I have questions, but I can see because time is so much gone, I can engage Mr. Mbau during lunchtime. So, members, don't come complaining that the Sacco board is bad. Because I've had these complaints, nyinyi wabaya mulinikata pesa yangu. You have had, if you guarantee somebody, you have the responsibility. Us is to protect the monies of the members. We don't want to expose our members, and that's why we thought it is very important for us to tackle the topic on guarantors, because it has been a very big issue to us. So I hope this is well understood. When you're guaranteeing somebody, at least now you have understood from the cooperative representative and Mr. Bau that the responsibility is on you. Yes. So without any further ado, I think I'm going to welcome our chair to close for us this session. And thank you so much for sacrificing time to come and listen to us. The Sacco, it's ours. Actually, it's only that we have been chosen to be the trustees or to run it for the time being. But if you don't come, you have seen the responsibilities of members. You guys have responsibilities of electing members. So many responsibilities, actually, when Mr. Bau was presenting, were for the members. So if you didn't come, you would not know your responsibilities. So, Mr. Chair, please come and conclude for us. And thank you so much for coming. Next Saturday is our NGM. Please still show up. Sunday.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. I think we'll invite the Secretary after I give a vote of thanks, so that she can tell us all that. Members, thank you very much for your patience. We've had a lot of enlightenment, and I believe this will help us to forge ahead as we better ourselves and grow the Sacco. Mine is just to give you a big thank you for making this day a success. And yes, we are going to reap much from this day. Without boring you so much, I will invite you for lunch, but our secretary would better do this as she tells us more about the AGM. What perhaps we've not told you in our teachings is that some of you have been wondering why board members have not willingly guaranteed you in your loans, and as it were, these are the people who enforce policies, and so if they have vested interest in each and every loan by way of guarantorship, it makes it very difficult for them to make those decisions. They are not very appealing decisions to those of us who don't adhere to rules, and therefore it is prudent for management not to keep on guaranteeing each and every loan to avoid this. So thank you, Madam Honorable Secretary. Come over, invite us for lunch and the AGM.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for finding time to attend this training. It is very effective, and I think you're going to share widely with those that have missed, so that at least they are able to know what you've been able to do today. I want to invite you to the NGM that will be held on Sunday 5th at 1 p.m. to 3. Would encourage physical attendance. As Mr. Bao has just said, it is good that you join us physically, although we'll have also virtual because of those people who are out of the country and they're watching from other places. So kindly come for the NGM. Lunch will be served at 1:30, and we'll go straight to the NGM at 2 p.m. We are going to share the audit reports through the Sacco WhatsApp group so that you come, having gone through it. If you'll be having questions, you prepare them in time. We'll share the minutes and we'll share the agendas through that forum. We are going to pin also the notice of the NGM at the church notice board out there so you can have a look at it. Thank you so much, and I just want to give a prayer for the Thanksgiving for the meal that is set there. So we are free to have lunch and you can leave at your own time. Let us pray. We thank you, Lord, for this afternoon. Thank you for taking us through the training today. Dear Lord, we are so humbled and honored. We thank you, Lord, for the speakers that have spoken to us. They have enlightened us. We want to thank you for the management that planned for this. May you bless us together. And now, Lord, we want to receive the meal that is before us with thanksgiving for, Lord, provision and thanking you, God, for everything. And this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. And may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you. We are free to have lunch.